Thank you for coming back to Beneath the Long Man's Feet. And in this video, I just want to talk a little bit about the old tales. The Matter of Britain, the Arthurian tales, the Irish cycle, and the Mabinogian. These are ancient tales and they're very important to most pagans. There's magic in those tales. But of course sometimes you have to delve deep to get to that magic. But I think it's worth it. But the language used in these tales is not immediately accessible. You have to read them several times and find out what's really happening. As I say, I think it's really worth it. But I did wonder a few years ago if perhaps the tales were written in more accessible language, whether they would be just as good. So with my tongue firmly in my cheek, I wrote a piece called The Modern Mabinogamy, Modern Mistellings of the Old Tales. Let me know what you think. Colin fell in love with Olive, as was his fate, so he travelled to meet her in that Cardiff council estate. Now Olive's dad was a miner, and he was mean and gruff, and he said, if you want my Olive, you've got to do me some stuff. So he set in some tasks, including building a shed with heat and power, and he had to build his gran a walk-in bath and shower. He had to stop the post office from sending all that junk mail, and he had to set a DVD to record EastEnders each week without fail. He had to stop Windows updates from crashing his PC at home, and he had to teach his gran to send an SMS text from her phone. But alas, the task with the big pig he could not do, due to government restrictions and the outbreak of swine flu. Well, the next tale I have to tell is one I think you know so well. It tells of Arthur's search for the cauldron. It's a cooking pot to me and you. He heard it was overseas in Ireland, so in a plane he flew. But once there his men they did take to the drink, and very soon into a drunken stupor they did sink. So when it was time to leave, none but 7 could Arthur revive. And the cauldron was lost in the chaos at Heathrow Terminal 5. Now the final tale tells of a mother's love lost too soon, and it can be found in the 5th book of Mills and Boon. Arianrhod, an unwanted baby she had, and it made her scream, so the child was whisked away by the social services team. No name, no weapon, no wife shall I give. That's my vow to you as long as I live. Harsh. But the boy did grow, and once he threw a stone, and a bird it did hit. And Arianrhod saw it and cried out, "Oi, you cruel git!" Now I think you'll agree it is a crying shame that you cruel git had become the boy's name. Visiting his mum in a council estate block, he then did pretend there was a loud, urgent knock. "Oh my goodness," said Arianrhod in panic and fear. "It's the police! Quick, hide all the dodgy gear!" So she threw him a stash including a razor blade, and so from this trick a weapon was made. Finding a wife was much harder, for you see, oak, broom and meadowsweet doesn't grow in downtown Swansea. But for some dandelion and some bindweed and an old Burberry check, they fashioned her a fine shabby wife by Eck. And the two were happy for a while, it's very true. But then a stranger came to town and turned her head anew, and the new lovers did work out how they could be together as one. And they did find out how the dastardly deed could be done. And so it came to be that our hero did expire, while standing in the bathtub, holding an electric fire. So my modern mistellings are all but told, and I think you'll agree they're not better than the old. So right now I'd like to thank the bards, both dead and alive, for making sure it's the old tales that still survive. Thank you for listening. I do hope you'll tune in for some more short stories and poems, providing I can speak properly. Have a good day. Bye-bye.